Hello adventurers and welcome back to my channel. I have an exciting update for you all today. A lot of you have been asking about my dad's van, so today I'm going to show you what he's been working on. He has been hard at work trying to get everything ready with his solar and installing his inverter and all of the different pieces. And so I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what's going on, what it looks like, and a little bit of an update as to how much closer he is to hitting the road. So right now you can see Dad's working. He's been up to a lot of things. There's a ladder over here that leads us up to, what is that? That is solar panels. Solar panels are actually installed now. I'm gonna crawl up the ladder and give you guys a better look, but first there's something else I wanna show you. Dad replaced this light right here because unfortunately something happened, and this is newly installed, so this is very nice. But there's a ladder here that we're actually going to shimmy up real quick so I can get you a little bit closer to something just out of frame. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have something on my van that I had taken off and then recently put back on. I have a Danchel awning, which I really like, and I thought, well, Dad needs a Danchel awning. So I was very fortunate that Danchel reached out and actually sent an additional awning for my dad for his van because they were so excited to see him getting on the road also. So he was able to get it installed now because he figured out his roof rack situation. So just right up here, right up this little ladder, that's where it is. Let's go take a look. Here it is. This is a big boy awning. This is a huge awning. This is much bigger than my awning is. And Dad actually had to build a little bracket for it to sit on because of the way that his roof rack is set up. So he's been working on that. He fabricated his bracket and installed it back here, and then it attaches to his main roof rack and sits out just a little bit from the van, but this will give perfect shade for he and my mom whenever they're on their travels so that they can pull it out and be able to sit next to the van under the awning in a nice shade and just relax. Now this one is a 6'6" awning. It is a big boy, but it's much taller than mine, so he has a little step that he and my mom are using to get in and out of the van, and it should be tall enough. It's just a nice little step up. That step is also used to be easier to get into the van because it is a huge step up into the van from the ground, and so that's going to be really cool and something super useful to him and my mom both. I'm very excited about this. Now a lot of you have asked if my dad's going to do a channel, and that's still up to him. He did mention that he might be interested, but it may not be a channel like mine is. It may be a little bit different of a kind of adventure, so I'll keep you posted, and if there are any updates I'll put it in my community tab whenever he decides. But for now, let's do a little bit more of an update. Let me show you a little closer some other things. Now my dad has this VanTech cargo system rack on here that he had put on, and then he took it off because he needed to move it and do a few things, and so he's now reinstalled it, and it sits up a little bit over the van, and this is where he secured his solar. And you can see he's hard at work on the solar itself. He's putting all of his wires in, he's getting everything all set up, and I'm gonna go to the other side to give you a little bit better view of the solar system itself, but it is all mounted up. He has 400 watts on the roof now. 400 watts on the roof. He has battery inside. He has an inverter inside, and it's a little messy in there because he's in the process, but I'll show you what the inverter looks like installed. It took him a minute to figure out where he was going to put it exactly because it's huge. It's a 5,000 watt inverter. So yeah, that obviously isn't going to be a small task to put in a giant inverter, but at the same time, he shouldn't need power ever because it's going to be a constant flow of exactly what he needs. So that's going to be super cool. But yeah, we'll go down the ladder now and go look at that before we hop up again and check out the panels. So Dad has this, which is actually a fuse for the massive inverter. This thing is so big. This is not like anything I've ever seen. He was reading the instructions and it said that he needed this, and so he kind of had to go looking for what exactly this would be. And so yeah, now he has that, and so he's in the process of getting this all installed. Okay, so in here we have the beginnings of the solar setup and everything. He has his battery, which is the lithium time over here. He's built a little box for it, and again, this is a little bit of a mess at this moment because he's not finished. I just kind of impromptu walked up on him and was like, hey, let me film because I want to show you guys before I hit the road what's going on. So he has this set up, and he's been putting a trickle charger on it to keep it going and everything. So that's what those two little clock lamps are. He also has a plug that he's installed back here so he can plug things in. He has all of his fuses and all of his breakers back here in this panel, and you can see where his shore power comes in to the back. But this guy, this is that big Cummins 5,000 watt power inverter, and he is in the process of getting it all set up. It has these massive cables that go on it. This is what actually had to have the breaker so that could be handled, because that's a lot of power coming out. But the way he set it up is he mounted it into the floor because it's supposed to be flat, not upright. And he left it where he can access this front panel. This front panel has a couple plugs on it and a few things that he can use out the back. So if he's at a campsite and he needs to use his power outside, he can simply pop in a plug and then come out here to the outside and be able to work in this space. Or if he needs this, he can run a plug and then run it through the front, and he can use it up in the front also. But he does also have additional outlets like this one and some other ones kind of stationed throughout the van. Now, as you can imagine, building out a van is not just one of those things that's happening overnight. And so with Dad having to work through all these things, he's going on little mini adventures kind of on his own, and then also coming back and working on his van. And with the adventure that we took, we tested out everything to make sure that it was going to work out in the placement before he finished up and sealed everything up. And in doing so, we were able to figure out a few small things that he wanted to kind of look into. But now he's had to actually remove a portion of a panel to go ahead and run some more wires through and things like that. So being flexible with building is the best thing that you can do, because realistically, if you don't know exactly what you're going to be living in, how you're going to be moving, how you're going to be doing things, it is better to kind of start one place, test it out, and then get back on the road and then test it out again after you've made changes. So that's kind of what he's been doing. And in doing so, he has troubleshot so many things, and it's still work in progress, but he's getting very, very close. And I know he wants to get on the road sooner rather than later. So now let's go up that ladder and check out the solar, which is way up there on top. This thing is so tall, I could literally park my van with my roof box probably inside and still have some clearance. It's huge. Dad, how tall is this?
It's 9'3", but if you go underneath there, you better nothing less than 9'6".
Okay, so yeah, you are quite a bit taller than me. But yeah, this is the van as a whole. And again, he's going to eventually paint it and stuff like that. But at this moment, he's just leaving it like this and working on the inside. And then after that, he's going to figure out how he wants to do the paint job, because he did have a little bit of rust kind of up toward the roof area. He has taken care of that for the most part, though, by covering it so it won't continue to rust. But in the process, he's just kind of sealed it so it doesn't do weird stuff at this time. But ultimately, he is going to do something fun with it. I just don't know what yet. And realistically, he might leave that as a surprise. I don't know. So I'll let you guys know if I have an update on that. But now I am going to shimmy my little self up the ladder and show you the solar, because it's really cool. So as you can see, he has 4 Renogy 100 watt panels up here, and they're all attached to the roof rack. And you can see that he has 3 of them facing like this direction and 1 facing this direction. And they're all tied in under the panels with all the little wiring and everything. And he's been working on this for a couple days, getting it all set so it'll be perfect. And then there in the front, you have the actual roof vent also. Overall, this is going to be awesome because, you know, I don't have solar on the top of my van. I just don't. It's not something that I've been able to do. I have a huge roof box up there and I need that for storage because I only have 35 square feet. I have a little bit of clearance in the front. I can't do anything that affects my current electrical system. So what I've kind of been doing is like, you know, it's fine. I'll be okay. But Dad doesn't have any of the restrictions or limitations that I do. So he's building out his van to be exactly what he wants it to be. And 400 watts of solar on the top is a substantial amount. And I'm really happy that he was able to get this up here and everything so we could see it before I take off, because this is cool, guys. It does get me thinking a little bit about solar, though. I'm just saying. And I do technically have a Renogy panel myself. I just need an extra roof rack, and then I'd have to figure out how to just run it in to charge power stations. And I don't know that that's my journey, but this journey is going to be awesome. And it makes me want to borrow the van a little bit more. Maybe we'll get to do that eventually, maybe. So overall, as you can see, Dad's been hard at work, and he's gonna continue to be at work until he's able to take off and go on a grand adventure, which I think he's hoping that he can go on very, very soon. But it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience whenever you're doing something like this instead of having somebody else build it out. And the nice thing about this is he's getting to use that trial and error to figure out what's going to work, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And as he's going along, he's fashioning this great adventure vehicle for he and my mom. And I'm so excited for them to be able to get on the road and experience the fun that I experience on the road, but in their van, which is bigger and more equipped for 2 people. It's just kind of exciting. So remember, guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Patience pays off, and definitely finding your way to have your unique dream is definitely awesome. So I encourage you guys to find out what works for you in your space and make it unique. Do the things that you want. If you want power, find a way to install some solar or get a power station. Nothing's limiting you from getting on the road except for yourself. So remember that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!